see I have order. Okay, just going to be arranging the little petals. Here we go. Yep. Sort of allowing it to kind of combine before I put it into the main bouquet. Here we go. Just sorting this out. I'm going to be just trimming the root a little bit. Just going to take it just a little bit. I'm just going to be just sort of trimming these roots here. Just going to be trimming. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Just sort of going to trim right there. Okay. Trim right there. Trim the stem. Make sure that the stem is all nice and uniform, but at an angle. There we go. That way it absorbs the water a little better. Okay, perfect. Now that we have the stem all uniform, I'm just going to be marking it up. So that way it just knows where to go. It just knows where to go. It's going to be circling in the area at which it's supposed to go. There we go. Okay, perfect. And I'm just going to clean that up. I'm going to be measuring it out now, making sure that the length of the flower is perfect. Okay, there we go. Now I'm just going to be measuring out the other side. Perfect. Making sure that they're both equally as long and that there is no inequality. Making sure that I make a note of this, of course. Okay, perfect. Now I'm going to be just smoothing out the petals in that case, making sure that the petals are nice and clear, nice and uniform. Okay, just sort of taking out these petals. Here we go. Shh, silence yourself. Okay, and there we go. Okay, there we go. The nice flower has been in bloom for a little while. I can tell that the coloration is a little bit discolored. I think a little bit of a spit shine won't really bring out all those nice oils and pigments. Okay, now on to the next one. Just making sure that this is nice and pigmented out. Perfect. Okay, now for the next petal. Next petal, just kind of make that really nice and pigmented. Now on to the next petal. Make that nice and pigmented. A little lipstick smear perhaps onto the petal itself, just to make it nice and soft feminine, but also like tragic feminine. Just right there, and now a little bit over here, just right there. Just making it nice and pigmented and nice and sort of fresh and healthy, glowing. Okay. There we go. Just making it nice right there. Just right there. Perfect. Now I'm going to be just sorting out through these little feelers right here. Perhaps some different feelers and see how it would combine. Okay. I see how the colors would really bring each other out when it comes to combining the two. I find that their colors would really bring out the white and red on these flowers, and also the lavender as well. I find that these colors will very much combine very well, along with the little floofy top right there. It's very Dr. Seussy. So let me just get these flowers nice and ready for immersion, nice and ready to have someone new to plop right into the middle of them. Okay, back them up. Make sure that this is nice and prepped as well. Really prep the vase as well. Now for just some final touch-ups. I'm just going to be taking these scissors yet again, and I'm just going to be trimming this up just to kind of get these petals really nice and round. I don't want any sort of like spiky ones. I think it would clash with the current flower ensemble that we currently have. I'm just going to be smoothing this one out right there, smoothing that one out. One more time, okay. Now just sort of slicing it up, okay. A little more on this petal right there, okay, perfect. Perfect, a little more on that petal, okay. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Now a little more onto this petal, okay, perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Now a little more onto the top petal. Perfect, 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 perfect. Okay. I'm just gonna be looking at these petals right here. I'm just gonna be looking at the petal right here. Just sort of examining the petals and make sure the petals are all nice and uniform. The petals are all nice and fresh and just sort of glowing and all that jazz. I'm just gonna be. I find that the petal will do now. I'm going to be taking the petal with this clamping machine, and I'm going to be just placing them in there, and then I will soon water them all so that way they all kind of get hydrated at the same time. Okay, that would be a good plan. That's a good plan. So I'm just going to just take this flower petal, and now that I have it nice and caught inside of my little clamp, I'm just going to place it right into the bouquet. Perfect. Now let me just sort it out, fix it up, make sure that it's all nice and planted in there. Perfect, perfect, perfect. The work has been done, and it is such lovely work. Okay, I'm just going to be sort of sorting it up. Perfect. There we go. Okay. Now just for a little bit of water, just to kind of get it all nice and there we go. Just a little bit of water never hurt anyone. Just a little bit of water just to get a very sort of nice healthy consistency. Now I'm just going to clamp this right back up. Make sure that it's all nice and clamped up. Perfect. I'm going to sort of set that to the side. Make sure that's nice and tilted so it doesn't tip over and it starts breaking or whatever. And I'm just going to be taking a little bit of this more nourishing sort of jazz and place it right onto it just to give it a nice fertilization effect. I think that these flowers are very much nicely sorted. I think that the flowers have a good consistency to them. I think that they have a good vibe to them. I think that they would be suitable for a perhaps a little bit of a soiree, a wedding evening, perhaps a honeymoon, or perhaps the sort of romantic garden. So now that these flowers are all nice and ready, I think I'm just gonna lay them to the side and make my final notes. And just make sure that it's all nice and finalized. I'm just going to be making my final notes onto this piece of paper right here. I'm just going to be making my final notes. Onto this little paper right here. My final notes onto this little paper right here. Okay. Okay. Specimen was red, white, and purple. It had a yellow ball. It included some more greenery, some more foliage that was partly groomed and managed and highlight some of the more important parts and perhaps create a more color scheme, a color palette. Okay, I'm just going to be creating a little bit of color palette right there. Perfect. Now on to the next color for the color palette to make sure that this is nice and clipped properly because I don't want it to dry out even in the most slightest of iotas. And I'm just going to be creating another little color palette right there. Okay, perfect. That one represents more of the red that I had placed down. Now for the yellow little ball, I'm just going to be creating a little bit of color palette right there we go. Okay, perfect. And now for the foliage, so I'm going to be needing a little bit of green for the new foliage that was added and groomed and curtailed and curtained and properly maintained. So I'm just going to be putting a little bit of green right there and just sort of making the finalized little green, the finalized little color palette color that I had. Now that I have my color palette, I'm just going to mark them up with a couple of colors that I have. So that one was foliage, that one was the bloom, the flower, that was the little yellow ball. And then the measures that I took were split, cutting, trimming, grooming, circling, rounding out. Okay, perfect. gonna take one final measurement of the product. Okay. The final product was a resounding measurement of 1.25 feet. Okay. Excellent, excellent. I think I'm pretty much settled here.